Well, while I'm doing this recording, it's already afternoon where I'm sitting. You can see how the sun is now moved in my room here. We are now coming to a more fun part of this week, and this is where we are going to be creative and where we are going to plan the activities to help the children develop. So in your training manual, you're on page 45. And in your NCF, you are on page 18 or 19. It all depends on which edition of book you have. I have my one on the computer is on page 18, and my one real life copy is on page 19. So that is where these columns starts. That's where we'll start at. So planning these development activities is what we do to help the children reach their milestones. The guidelines in the NCF is there to help us, assist us to help the children develop. So we will now go into the books and we are going to read there. You are sitting in your small groups. Hopefully there's more than 4 groups in a class, because that would really help later on when we're busy with this activity. Okay, let's take our time to understand these columns. Aims, developmental guidelines, example of activities, and assessment guidelines. These are all on this page. I am on page 18, you might be on page 19. So we start with the first aim, children are well nourished. In this second column, is listed the developmental guidelines for babies, toddlers and young children. But for this part, it's just for babies, beginning. That is for the babies. So these are the developmental guidelines for babies. This column is example of activities that can be done with the babies. And the last column is the assessment. The assessment will be discussed on day 5. So we will now look at this column. Let's call it the middle column. The example of activities. So listed for you here in the NCF and for babies is the example activities for babies, which will help them to be children that are well nourished. If we go on to the next page, it is the moving ons. Those are the toddlers. These are example of activities for the toddlers. If I page even further, advancing further, those will be example activities for young children. And then the grade R, towards grade R's, those will be for 5 and 6 year olds. So going back, let's just look at this again. For the first aim, children are well nourished. This column will give you example activities to offer when you work with those children. Those activities could also be suitable for the toddlers moving on, although there will be listed some new ideas. And then all the previous ideas will also be applicable to the young children advancing further, the 3 and 4 year olds. So if we look at the next aim, children are healthy and have a sense of good hygiene. They give you activity ideas, things to do for babies, beginning. Those are the babies. Ideas for moving on. Those are the toddlers. Ideas for advancing further. Those are the young children of 3 and 4 years old, and then also for towards grade R. But remember, all the activities, they might say that in this specific column, that activities for younger children might also still be applicable for grade R. You just need to read there. Just going to go once more. For the third aim, children build a sense of safety and security. There will be activities listed for babies, beginning. Activities for moving on, those are the toddlers, 2 and 3 years old. Advancing further, those are 3 and 4 years old, and towards grade R. Right back to the beginning. Let's see what is listed here. Activity ideas to help children to be well nourished for babies beginning. Make a game out of weighing and measuring the babies. Offer each child a variety of foods. Spend time with each child during meals. So these are the ideas that you have to use when you are now planning your activities. In your groups, you have to plan 2 activity ideas for each of those 4 columns on the template. Just some ideas that came to mind. Make weighing time as fun and without stress as possible. It has to be fun. They do not have to be afraid. They must make a game out of it. When working with food, spend time with the child. Don't let them eat alone. Talk about the food. Introduce new foods. Model healthy choices, because you are the child's model, ne? Expect that babies will make a mess. They must play with they will play with the food. You don't have to ask them to do that. They will play with the food, but that is normal. So expect that. Be ready. When it's feeding time for the baby, spend time with each child during the mealtime. Talk to them, sing to them, telling them stories, talk about the food. Make food easily accessible. Make it in small pieces, lots of finger foods for young children. Present the food attractively and different types of food. Introduce various types of food. Expect them that the older babies will try to feed themselves. And let them manipulate the food. You know they're going to make a mess of it, but that's important. Cultivate healthy relationship with foods. Introduce new foods. Present food attractive and in a playful fashion. Expect older babies will want to feed themselves. Allow them that trial and error. Make mealtimes pleasant by talking and telling stories, and talk to each child about the food